Welcome back, everyone, to J-Face Games. Today we're looking at some of the classes that I've been working on. If you're new to the channel, I am working on an RPG. It's called The Pressure System, and I've been working on it for about 2 years now. We're now getting to the point where we're creating classes and subclasses, and I want to kind of walk through. If you don't know anything about the game, this might be foreign language to you, so skip around, go to the tutorial, maybe go to some other videos. But if not, if you're more familiar with this game, or if you're just interested in getting a quick random look at what some of the subclass design looks like, stick around. We're talking about 2 of the subclasses for the talent. So let's zoom in and we'll take a look here. I know that I'm using Obsidian. For those that usually everyone asks, I'm using Obsidian. I'm using their canvas mode. So here's the talent. You are powerful and mysterious. You were born with a natural talent to tap into the flow of arcane magics that exist in the natural world. So in my setting, it is a steampunky, nautical, flying ships. Sometimes you're on the water. That's more dangerous sort of setting with lots of exploration. And to me, I had to come up with a magic system. This was good advice from some of the people on the Discord channel where I was trying to think of a very generic magic system that could apply to anything. And they were like, no, really tie it to your setting for now. It'll help you create. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. So magic is known as the flow, just like the vast Eversea, which the planet's all water with floating islands. It swells in tides. The flow can be navigated and temporarily shifted, but it cannot be collected and held for long. It is like the wind that pushes our sails or the water that carries our hulls. Talents can see these flows. They can see these currents and tap into them in different ways, narrowing that flow into a rapid torrent that they can release into the natural world. So let's get looking. So the first one that I kind of worked on is the spark. To me, we'll just read it. Go ahead. The spark. The flow naturally funnels into you. It floods up. It floods you. It bubbles up, and you can use it as you wish. Intuition is your gift. The chaos of nature makes sense to you. Chaos is your friend. You can deal with the chaos of combat, the chaos of crowds and conversations. Most known as sparks, but also known as storm callers and windcrafters, they are integral to a ship's crew. To me, the idea of a spark is kind of like, I guess you could say like a 5e sorcerer, meaning that magic just kind of happens for them. It's intuitive, it's natural, and it just happens. And particularly, to me, magic, or the flow in this scenario, is wind and lightning, right? Because they're tapping into this sort of storm-like nature. And so, what are some of the things that happen? Well, I wanted to really tap into that idea of wind and lightning. And I also wanted to tap into the nature of they are influenced by the flow around them, so much so that when the flow is more prevalent, or when their adrenaline's higher, they can tap into it more, and when it gets softer, that kind of ebbs down. So we'll see how that pans out. Get over there. You can use wind to throw an enemy or an ally from to a nearby zone. So pretty much you're picking someone up, chucking them somewhere, right? You're using wind either to hurt an enemy and get them out of your zone, or throw one of your buddies a little bit further away to, so they can get into the mix of something. I'm a leaf on the wind. There's a little nod to Firefly. You're able to jump to another zone. So you're able to jump as far as you want, sort of using this wind to pick you up and blast you somewhere in the distance. Get away from me. This is you push everyone in the zone. They go in the direction they are from you, and you are going to do stress, add +1 stress after casting to exclude certain people. So the idea being that if you use this as base, you're going to shove everyone away from you. If you are stressing yourself to omit people from that, you're going to probably take stress. So if you want to shove the bad guys but not your friends, that means you're actually having to direct and channel the flow as opposed to just letting it burst from you, right? So far, a lot of CC, right? A lot of crowd control for your friends and you. Pushy, anytime you use your base controller ability to push someone, you get advantage. So this is almost like a skill. I could probably put this over the skill. This means that normally when someone uses a push action or a pull action, that's just like a basic, anyone can just try and push someone away from them, right? You're just good at it. Why? You control wind. Of course you're good at it. All right. I am the Eye of the Storm. This is another controller ability. You do 3 damage to all targets in your zone. In addition to this, you raise the pressure die in your zone. So it's just become a torrent. You're sucking air into that area. It's becoming a torrent. It's like a hurricane. So that zone is now just awful for everybody. All zones adjacent or nearby will reduce the pressure die. So you're sucking in the flow from other areas into your zone. You're making it rough. This is one of the fun things in this game is manipulating the pressure die. And so this might be one where you're doing a lot of damage to everyone in your area, but maybe you've set up a buddy in an adjacent zone who now it's easier for them to do whatever they need to do. All right, let's just go this way and we'll come up. Jump start. You got a friend who's knocked out and you have not taken a turn since they did. You can perform this on them and you bring them back to life. So it's like you're doing shock paddles, right? You're putting your hands on the chest, shock padding them. It's an AED. That's the word I was looking for. Sparky weapon. You touch either your weapon or an ally's. It is flooded with electricity on its next attack. Has a +3 damage. It's a lot of damage in this system. Gonna charge you up. You jolt an ally with a burst of electricity. They feel faster and briefly energized. They are empowered, focused, and have an extra move action on their turn. They take 2 stress when you do this. You're going to hurt someone, but you're going to ramp them up to really go wreak some havoc. So this is a risk-reward sort of scenario. Static field, you release a field of electricity all around it. All around you. It's disorienting for others to be around you. Everyone besides you in the zone is now shaken and vulnerable. So another like area CC. And so finally, there's been some damage. Most of it's been like PBAOEs. So finally you have this release charge, which is a marksman. So this is your lightning bolt shot. And I've got some decisions to make here, but release the flow as a bolt of lightning towards your target, able to hit up to far, so it's a really far distance shot. Roll an attack with a die 2 steps higher than the pressure die. So when you are in a zone that has high pressure, you are now doing more potential damage, right? So it's good to be in a risky scenario. Your zone goes down a step die until the beginning of your next turn. So there's a lot going on here, which we'll talk about, or we'll think about in playtests. If any allies are engaged with the enemy, they take 2 stress also. So if you shoot an enemy and that enemy's engaged with someone else, they're going to get a little spark. Fail to perform at one zone, pressure goes up a die. I don't know about this one. Like, there's a lot of actions here. But this is the one that I was trying to tap into in terms of let's make it so that the zone pressure, your powers become dependent on the zone pressure and they have effects on it, right? So there's a lot going in on this power. And once again, when someone creates a spark, they might not take all these powers. Who knows where they're going to go? I've got down here, you can't see it, but I've got this chain lightning question mark. I still might do something like a chain lightning, like a jumping from target to target, but we'll see. It's in the hold right now. So that is the spark. And I know I'm talking a mile in a minute, but I want to do both of these in one video. I thought it'd be more fun. The shaper. So the shaper was originally going to be like my mage, my wizard, but they've kind of turned into more of an alchemist, which I really like. And someone said on the channel, I think it was Shane, he said that this is probably the one that feels the most embedded in the lore and in the setting so far. And he's probably right. Study is your superpower. You have spent time learning, deciphering, and understanding the nature of the flow. How does it react to things? Where is it most prevalent? You are able to bring it forth and shape it to match your needs with different implementations and concentration. You are focused and able to see and understand nuance and how that nuance fits into the bigger picture. Let's see what this guy does. Or girl. Wait. I think I have something for that. This is sort of, I just thought this would be fun. You know, this is that you are a tinkerer. You've got your Batman utility belt, that sort of idea. And it's very stressful to utilize potentially. But I like the idea that, oh, that was not good. I like the idea that you happen to have a prototype or a gadget that just might work. Describe the thing you have built that might help in this scenario. So it's forcing RP in a way. One-time encounter, it can bestow upon one of the following effects. So you're either going to give someone a damage, like ability to do more damage, grant them extra movement, give someone advantage D10, which is pretty big. There might be some other effects you could also do. Maybe there's like a stress relief, you know, that kind of thing. Maybe there's something, because this is technically someone advantage to D10 could be a skill check, it could be an attack, it could be a defense, so it could be almost anything. So it's this idea of one time an encounter, you've got something to help someone. There'll probably be like a requirement that you have to be close to them to use this, because you're handing it to them or giving it to them or something. But I like that idea. I think it'd be fun. The flow doesn't lie. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but something about changing the pressure die. I think every class should have at least something that manipulates the pressure die in some way. That was actually, I think, Epi and talked about that, about being a potential. So something about reading the flow to understand the nature of items or creatures. I like the idea that this class, the subclass, they see the flow around creatures and how it interacts with creatures and how it touches them. And they understand the flow enough to know that the way it's touching that creature gives insight into the nature of that creature. Now, I don't want to step on the toes of the Keeper class, which is much more of the knowledge, wisdom kind of concept. Like they have infinite wisdom and knowledge, not infinite, but they have more knowledge and wisdom about things. So I'm going to have to tinker with this and how this interacts, and that they're not overlapping in redundancy. Let's go over here first. Static cube, a stasis cube. You throw this little cube. It's empowered with the flow in some way you've stored it in. You throw a small cube into an area that bursts in a static field of electricity. Everyone in that zone cannot move until your next turn. So everybody stuck. They can still attack and do things, but they're just stuck. Fog cube. What happens with the fog cube? You pick up, you pick a zone, you throw a cube again. Small cube that emits fog from it that lasts until the end of your next turn. Everybody gets a disadvantage in that zone. Allies get less disadvantage. Allies get disadvantage D10 to attacks. They're used to your antics. All enemies have a disadvantage D6. If you want to understand the disadvantage system and why that makes a difference, there's a disadvantage video that kind of explains that concept. But the bigger die on disadvantage is not as bad. Shock armor. Until the start of your next turn, anything that hits you with melee will take 2 stress for each strike against you. So that's you get yourself in a hairy situation. Everything tries to hit you. If they hit you, they're taking damage. It's probably anything that tries to hit you, so that you're not having to get beat on in order to make it happen. Flow condenser. When used, it adds protected to the target that is either near or close, but also removes their movement. So I put controller and defender because to me, this is the idea of somehow you've tapped into the flow to harden it around a target. So it's both a boon and a bane, because I could do it around a bad guy in the distance, and now that person's stuck. They can't move. Or I could do it around my friend. They can't move, but they'll be able to take a beating, potentially. Right? So we'll have to see, because technically, I'm just seeing this now, a player could stack these two things. If I made myself, I can't move now and hardened, and I gave myself shock armor, because they're both free, just might end up taking a lot of stress or not being able to get one to come off. So we'll see if that ends up being broken. I'm not going to change it, but we'll see if it's broken. And then finally, the wand. This is almost like... It was almost like I was inspired by Ghostbusters or something, where it's this, you have the wand is in essence, player can describe it however they want, some sort of stick, got a tube that's attached to some sort of backpack or belt or something, whatever. It's your description. But you have this wand, and on an alpha action, meaning the beginning of your turn, you have to choose if you're changing it to something, right? The problem being that alpha actions, you only get one. So if I use the fog cube, I can't change my wand because they're both alpha actions, right? So there's some decisions there, like what do I need to do? Your wand is what you're kind of damaging other people or potentially doing. So we have, let's go down here. Battery, this is lightning wand. This is you choose 2 enemies in the same zone or in adjacent zones. So it's an enemy that are next to each other or close, or 2 enemies that are at least nearby each other. And this is chain lightning. So I guess we're not going to use it for the spark because we stole it. And in essence, you're doing damage. You're attacking them with advantage D6, right? So you're zap zap, right? Combustion projectile. This is I'm trying to target a couple targets, but I might not do a massive amount of damage, but I'm hitting multiple targets. This is a combustion projectile. You're putting this compact flow of wind into this wand, and it's going to launch out this polished stone. This is then going to do damage. This does a minimum 3 damage on a hit. So, excellent. right? You're going to be able to do a big sort of damage to somebody. And then we have controller leadership, magnetism, right? So magnetism, you switch the wand to magnetism. You shoot a bad guy or an ally with your magnetism ray. Choose another close target to become engaged with it. If there is not a close target, choose a nearby one. So, I mean, I think this is just self-explanatory in terms of you're going to have a lot of options here in terms of this is a way to target this bad guy or target your friend, and all of a sudden they're engaged with someone else. So now you've stuck that. It's like almost like you're taunting for someone. Target a bad guy, and another bad guy that's engaged with your buddy goes flying over to him. So you've de-engaged someone from your friend. You're dragging someone else into the zone. You're dragging a friend into the zone. So maybe I think that the voice class has a heal that they have to be engaged with someone. So now it's like, I'm going to shoot the person you want to heal. I'm going to drag you over to him so that on your turn you can heal and you can use your movement to go somewhere else. I mean, come on. That's just fun. So to me, that sounds really fun. There's a question about making it free. Like, I mean, you could just be, that's a lot. So this might have to be an action. Let's just put action here for now. And we'll see, because it's really good. So that's it. That's the concept so far for the talent. I have the conduit over here. The conduit is more of your, and I've got some ideas coming down. You can pause on this if you want to and look at some of these, but I'm going through some ideas for the conduit as we speak. So I hope to have that fleshed out soon. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe, leave a comment. Hope to talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.